Amit on YouTube. Hi there, man. Give me just 2-3 minutes. I'm starting the stream now, so yeah, give me just a minute.
Subscription protocol engaged. Welcome to the core network.
MLS, thank you very much for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Let's kind of slowly get started. Did anyone join? I guess few people are here already. Give me 1 second. I don't have this number on my screen. Let me just see. I can, I guess, check on my phone. Actually, let me also do one thing here. Jenny TV, hey. Oh, MLS. Yeah, exactly. Is that what we discussed yesterday? It was Podman versus Docker. Was that you? Was that you? I think that was you, right? I think that was a nice one, but I had to leave. Let me know if that was you. Did I actually pin this? Give me 1 second. That nice, man. Nice, awesome. Yeah. The results came, of course, and yeah, here it is. So let's take a look at it together. I'm not gonna read through all of this. Let's go ahead and create a web page out of this, and then we're gonna take a look at the results together. But I'm also interested. It was quite late, and I had to be with my wife and kids and stuff like that. Let me just close out. Okay, this we actually have to do. I want to do this today. I was just exploring some models that we're gonna. Give me 2 seconds. Let's see what we're gonna do today. Is there any other stuff here to review? No. We still need this. This is something I want to do. Fine. Gemini. No, that's okay. Also okay, we no longer need that. Yeah, we need this. This is our POC. I like that. Okay. This is our storybook that we closed. Our programmer network production link here. Fine. All right. So let's take a look. Let's start the stream maybe by discussing that a little bit. Let's find it here. Let's see if it... What? All right. All right. I thought I clicked that. Did I not click it? Okay, we'll actually need this today in this stream. What is this? This is a POC we just worked on. Let's see if, otherwise we can summarize and read this ourselves. But let's start here today. Let me just get some water here. So I'm also interested into that MLS as well. Okay, let's leave. Okay, it's doing it now. I just need a summary, and then if we are interested into more details, we can then walk backwards instead of reading through all of that. So okay. So last 2 days since I was streaming, since I'm on vacation, so I have time to stream, I was again working on this amazing feature that I'm so much looking forward to, and I got further and further past 2 days. Backend is done. I generated all the unit tests possible. I kind of adjusted the prompt to the AI agent we're using to generate these lessons and stuff. So I think there's going to be more work there, and now it's polishing and testing out stuff and kind of. So there's going to be, over time, we'll need to... actually, I have some things written... I just want to figure out how we do with our Proctor agent. Like when you give an explanation of a certain concept, should it go back and forth with you and stuff? Okay, let's see. Let's just, before we start coding, let's see here. The shift to daemonless containers based on community analysis, developer forums, Reddit, GitHub, and enterprise case studies. This report explores organizations migrating to Podman, their motivation and technical hurdles they face. Okay, primary motivator security. Rootless by default is the number one cited reason. And I think this is no longer a case. I don't know if you saw MLS. Let me show you. I read that on Programmer Network a couple of days ago inside of our news. I think I bookmarked it. Docker. I hopefully I bookmarked it. Okay, wait. Let me actually. I should have bookmarked it, but let's actually search it under our news. I'm gonna show you now what I mean. So I don't think that if we go to news here and we search for a Docker. Yeah, Docker hardened images. Here it is. So I don't know if you saw this MLS. But Docker now also, since last week, offers these Docker hardened images, which basically, as far as I understand, exactly is rootless access by default, right? So for example, if you, and only thing you basically need to do is you need to, in your Docker file, what you do is you just append hardened string to your image. So if you have node alpine, for example, it's going to be nodejs hardened alpine, whatever, right? So now this is also free with Docker, and they, I think, exposed I don't know, a few hundred or a few thousand. So for example, if we go like nodejs hardened image, let's see. Yeah, if we go to hardened images here, you can see Postgres, there we go, right? So you can say, so this premise here that we just saw, yeah, this one you could say, yeah, it's true, but it's no longer fully true because you can do that now with Docker as well, right? Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm just trying to kind of compare it in a as realistic way possible relative to my limited knowledge as well, right? Migrating trigger, Docker desktops, 21 licensing changes. I don't care about Docker desktop. I don't know anyone who's using this, and I would never suggest anyone to use this. It's a massive, whatever you call it. So it's absolutely garbage. I would never use that. Daemonless direct integration with systemd and Kubernetes pods. Yeah, that's awesome. I think this is a good value. I think this is a good value for sure. I agree, especially because even though we would need to translate now, we would have to go further down to understand what this fully means, right? Architectural functional comparison, comparing the perceived strengths of Docker with Podman based on development sentiment. So literally, if you remember MLS, what we discussed yesterday, this diagram here shows my also assumption. Tooling is obviously going to be Docker, because it's so much older, ease of setup as well, and ease of setup is also perceived relative type of thing, right? Because probably there's also a massive portion of that is because we're used to it, right? And let's see key differences. Daemon, Docker uses a central daemon spoof. Podman is daemonless for exact model. Privilege, Podman runs rootless by default. Docker requires specific configuration for rootless, right? So, like, is this a value or not? I leave that to you, right? Because I guess this would be a clear value if one or the other didn't provide rootless access at all, right? And they do. Orchestration, Podman supports pods natively. Locally, Docker focuses on containers. So this, for me, already sounds very interesting. So I would need to kind of figure out in my own Kubernetes cluster what this means. The transition is mostly seamless for CLI users. Alias Docker Podman, but differences in networking and compose are where the friction lies. Okay, so they have their own compose version, and so I would say, and actually we can test our own feature that we're building in Programmer Network now so if we go here, new track, let's see if there's any data that AI has. I would like to migrate from podman to from Docker to podman. I've never used podman before, hence I need good foundation differences between the two. Okay, let's see. Career, generate learning. But let's see actually if this is gonna work. I want some advice. Yeah, just write a question, man. Good evening. Analyzing and generating your learning path. Let's see, did we mess something up? Because this is work in progress, this feature that we're building now. I would probably like to think, okay, good. So it did generate a learning path for us. The strategy focuses on understanding Podman's architecture and operations, its key differences from Docker, and networking capabilities. Okay, so our feature is starting to look very good. So we go next, and we're gonna review that. Sure, we're gonna say create track. Explain the main feature of Podman and how it differs from Docker. Let's go to flashcards here. Let's generate some flashcards so we can kind of see what some of the core questions about Podman is that we should do. Okay, let's go and review. What problem does Podman solve compared to Docker? Let's see. Podman provides a daemonless container management approach, allowing users to run containers without needing a background service. Got it. How does Podman architecture differ from Docker's? Podman runs containers as child processes of the user, while Docker relies on central daemon to manage containers. Why might someone prefer Podman over Docker for rootless containers? Podman allows users to run containers without root privileges, enhancing security, reducing the risk of privileged escalation. What feature does Podman offer that aligns with systemd integration? Podman can generate systemd service units to manage containers as system services, allowing for better integration with the operating system. How does Podman handle container images compared to Docker? Podman can pull and manage images using the same commands as Docker, but it uses a different storage mechanism. Ah, man, it's also good to see that our feature is coming to a... So that's very good. That's very good. Let me see what the MLS wrote. What's interesting, I've seen Podman pods spinning up way slower and in way less verbose way than Docker. Also, verbose option in Podman sucks because I see, okay. I'm 25 now, was in a support implementation role and now switching to coding, but finding it a little difficult to grasp concepts like dependency injection, complex code workflows. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's not a question, that's a statement. So I need to, please, if you can just formulate the question. I'm not sure, that's not a question, that's a statement. So what is the question that you need? How can I help you? If your point is that programming is hard, it is, yes. And you need to, you know, for now, can create CRUD apps using Python. Any advice? Well, you need to just sit and write a lot of code, my friend. How you should learn to write code is no different than learning to play tennis or learning any other tangible skill. You need to do a lot of procedures, meaning you need to spend a lot of time doing things, not watching other people do it like me here. So your time is probably way better spent shutting the stream now and doing things yourself than watching me, right? Because that is called passive learning. So what you're doing now, you're passively learning, and passive learning doesn't yield skills. Passive learning yields so you need to do things. Programming is a very broad industry, and there's a lot of things to learn. There's thousands of things to learn. C1, hey buddy. What do you think is better for app dev, Flutter? I don't use word app better in the context of engineering. So you need to define a little bit better what do you need, right? There's no such thing as better or worse in programming. There's many variables that we have to discuss before we can use that word, right? So you need to say what the use case is. What do you know best? There are many questions we would need to answer in order to use word best in programming, right? How are you doing, C1? How's life, man? Haven't seen you in a long time, I do. Yeah, man, but I also haven't streamed in like a year or something like that, so it's kind of, yeah. All right, so let's see. What did let me just take a look at my e-ink tablet here. What is the notes that I wrote? What are still the things that we have to do in the context of the create tracks, learn together? No, I haven't. MLS, I haven't. I'm mostly, so my Kubernetes cluster is K3s, and I have 4 Raspberry Pis, as if you remember from my guide, and three mini PCs. PCs are running Ubuntu, and Raspberry Pis are running Raspberry, basically, right? Which is a base of Ubuntu, if you may, Debian. So no, I mean Talos and all that. The thing is, right? It's so broad, right? There's so many layers of things that you could theoretically try that it just becomes I'm running my own Kubernetes cluster at home and my own networking, my own everything, and that's already way too much for one person. Like now, adding more of the things on top of this pile, I'm just afraid that it would be a bit too much, right? Because I mean, Talos and all of these extra layers of security, you could say they would enhance defensive programming, if you may, more. Like, oh yeah, this is rootless and this is also right. But you know, I just don't have the mental capacity anymore to add so many things. But I did read about it and I heard about it for sure. But no, I'm not using it myself. Yeah, I mean, I would say, man, like I would say just, and I'm not saying that you are doing that. I just have to say, just make sure that you don't overthink it, right? Because this field is absolutely endless, right? And once you start digging deep, like with any other subject, I mean, actually, one interesting thing from the book that we are building the feature about now, ultra learning, right? At the end of the book, the author says pretty much what I said so many times in this stream, right? And that is the factual thing is that more of the things you learn. Let me actually try to find that. Yeah. So it says the more one learns, the greater the craving to learn more. The better one gets, the more one recognizes how much better one could become. If you finish reading this book and have been encouraged to try your own project, this would be my greatest hope, blah, blah. So exactly, I mean, the thing is, like, once you get into details of any industry, any sub-industry, you realize how much you suck. And, you know, I've been in this industry for 20 years and I suck at so many things still because there's always more detailed layers of things you can deep dive. So that's why it's an endless industry. And that is the beauty of it, right? Is that no matter how much you think you know, there's always way more that you don't know. So that's why also when you go into infrastructure, right? It's like there's so many options. Every problem has 20 minimum 20 different tools, right? And then if you keep kind of either procrastinating about them or keep thinking what should you use, because you will always like with every technical decision, right? You will always compromise something. No matter what you choose, you might think that you're choosing the best thing now, but you're making compromises on something else because there isn't a perfect tool, there isn't a perfect programming language. Every technical decision you make is gonna come with. So that's why it's important to just make decisions, make them quickly, Otherwise, you know, it gets, oh, should I use this S3 storage? Oh, should I use this firewall? Oh, should I use this URL library? Or should I build API in this language? And then by the time you figure all of that crap out, which is for most people irrelevant, whatever the choice is, you end up building nothing ever, right? So that is kind of the irony. So I would say it's way more important to build things than to overthink too many technical considerations, right? Yeah, so the only thing that I dislike here now, so we need to test the full flow. We need to do some security audit. Into this, type your explanation. Let me just try. Let me just try to fill this in now with AI, just so we can kind of follow through the whole flow of this feature we're building. So let's just go here. Let's kind of observe, is my backend actually working properly? Did we do anything or whatever? Did we do everything? And then we'll need to improve it on mobile as well. So let's get this bad boy here. Let's go to network. Let's clear that up and let's submit. And also this fucking loading state is so dumb. Okay, so the verify failed. And that's actually fine, but that's not the problem. So first and foremost, we can see that. Okay, so let's kind of prepare the agent to help us with this crap, so we can get closer. Hopefully, maybe today even be ready to push this to production. And then let me get to that statement in a second. So number one, when we submit an answer to, I mean, we could also fix this ourselves. The global spinner appears, which is completely wrong. We should be passing is loading to the button itself and use that. Also, this button is super fucking big. I don't know if that's, yeah, but we'll see. Okay, let's do that. HA proxy is kind of synchronous defeating me when I try to switch from traffic, but HA proxy is like the gold. No, I actually love traffic. I love traffic so much, man. Like traffic is one of my favorite services out there. It's so simple. It has a lot of awesome plugins, community built Go packages, right? I love traffic. I don't know why would you want to switch from it. I think it's written in Go. It's very efficient. It's easy to use with labels and stuff like that, right? I really love traffic. I think that it's a very well written service, and it has good support. It has good documentation. I would have to say at least documentation that I needed was very good. They have also these very nice diagrams and stuff. So no, I would definitely not move away from traffic. I used to use Nginx for 2 decades, and now I'm in love with traffic. I use it with Docker Compose. I use it with Kubernetes. You know, so it's really, really good. And as you can see here, you can say, oh, I want a Cloudflare IP ranges, whatever, right? You come here, say Cloudflare, for instance, right? And then, oh, you know, I want Cloudflare Gate, I want Cloudflare GeoBlock, I want Cloudflare Real Client IP middleware, right? So, you know, to rewrite some HTTP headers. So there's a lot of awesome stuff here. You know, I'll allow only real IP from Cloudflare Proxy Tunnel, right? So there's a lot of these funny things that people build, and then you can kind of go here and say, oh, wow, cool. So this is what it does. This is how I use the middleware. This is blah blah blah. So it's a very nice thing. Okay, let's now start kind of improving, yeah, and then obviously answering your questions, whoever has some. But now we're getting back to finalizing this amazing feature, which I can't wait to start using myself here on Programming Network, based on real science and several books, or at least one of the latest books that I read. So it's going to be great. So I don't like this still, flashcards review. Kind of wish we can, if I kind of go here and I say flashcard cards, yeah, we could kind of be more minimalistic, and instead of this, we could show an icon like this. What about review? Is there some icon that signifies a review? A review. That I don't have much experience with MLS, right? So I'm not, at my job, I'm not building like critically, like trading systems where microseconds of latency matter. So I'll sustain myself of sharing any opinion there because it would be meaningless. For the things that I use it for, it's really awesome. But if I was building, of course, if the problem that we're discussing would have been different, then of course, then you have to kind of seek for whatever best possible service exists out there, right? Review. Is there any icon that kind of suggests that? Review. Preview, nah. Numinex friend, yes, there he is. I just hate these things here. That's my problem. How you doing, buddy? All right, well, I mean, that is fine, I suppose. Now let's kind of see why our backend fails, because there's a lot of security related stuff that I added, some extra schema validation and some layers. Nice, dude, nice. Thank you very much for that. Track not found. What the fuck are you talking about, bro? What? Try that again. And let's open our Docker logs here. Where is our service? API dev, here it is. Let's actually take a look at the logs already. Okay, so basically, what's happening here, the AI is failing with an error that mismatches our schema, which is fine. So our schema works. So that's very good, but what's not good is that, so let's kind of have AI help us debug this. But fundamentally, yeah, we can see that I have failure category schema in somewhere. If we go to our this new feature we're building, so if we kind of go back to learning, so actually it's probably not this schema, it is learning tracks maybe. Category. Yeah, failure category. So AI is supposed to fail with one of these three things, but essentially and most likely it has failed with some other category, which is the value of FJS merged, whatever this shit is. Yeah, so let's see what the AI is saying here in attempt to help us out. The value does not match schema. Root cause when failure category is null in the database, equalized to JSON returns null, but the type box schema expects it to be either undefined, one of the literal values. The schema does not accept null values. Create a serialization utility function for recall attempt similar to existing serial function, which properly handles conversion null value to undefined, converting date objects to ISO. Yeah, but why do we need that? But why don't we just update the schema from expecting undefined to Of course I'm right. Of course I'm right. But still the amount of time that it saves us, you know. So I mean, is it a problem that we have to, make it, like, of course, if you just blindly accept all of this crap, then, well, good luck, right? Then you're basically a non-technical person. That's also fine. But I think the amount of work, I mean, it just debugged this problem in 3 seconds, right? It would have taken me probably 5 minutes, right? Just to go through the files and figure out. Or, okay, maybe not 5 minutes, but it would have taken me 2-3 minutes, right? For sure. To read the logs, right? Give me 1 second. What was it? Wait, I can't remember. Give me 1 second. Exec shell, open a browser, enter focus main panel. No, fuck that. Next screen, no. All right, let's leave that there. Let's try again. Okay, so it did like it. Now it says, think about how someone unfamiliar with containers might relate to this concept. Try again, okay. How would you learn web dev if you could start over? I would use AI massively to learn. I would use AI 24/7. It's the most amazing tool ever built for learning in humanity ever. You have a free mentor to unblock you. As long as you're able to write English and ask questions, is like in any shape or form. Literally, if you say, I don't understand this, explain it to me in this way. So I would definitely, of course, I would build things still, and I would get obsessed by building things, sure. But I would, having a, back in the day when I was learning programming, you had to open a book, go to a library, go to forums, go to whatever. Now you don't need to, you never have to switch from your computer ever. You just okay, so I'm building feature now on Programmer Network that's going to be deployed this week. That's going to help you learn a lot. It's going to guide you a lot, following some scientific principles. So it's going to be, at least you're going to have some guidelines. Okay, interesting. What the fuck, man? Come on. No, not in the store, man. We need to do it here. Okay, so what's very clear, so what's really clear now when it comes to this feature, right? We need to move all of these states into Storybook, right? There are so many states in this new feature we're building that are very very much, you know, hardly visible, right? So we need to kind of get these states, you know, into the storybook, so we can kind of observe each individual state in when, like, this state is very much hidden behind this feedback, right? Mailar, Leo, hey buddy, how you doing? So I think we kind of have to do that for sure. We need to generate bunch of stories, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's kind of... Where was that? Where was the try again thing? Let me just close a bunch of this crap. Yeah, man, of course. I mean, you it's not been 20 years. Why do you need that? Can you suggest some resources to learn JS? Why would you need to learn that now? That makes no sense. And can I suggest some resources? Man, just go to YouTube. I mean, I don't actually understand what type of resource do you expect. If you want to learn something, it's YouTube and that's it. I don't actually genuinely understand why people ask that question. Use YouTube, use AI, right? I mean, you have all the resources in the world for free. It's very concerning to me when people ask, do you have a resource? To be very honest with you. It's a very concerning question. In today's time, when learning things has never been easier, the fact that people ask, oh, do you have a resource for me to learn from? I think that is, for me, highly concerning. Highly concerning.
New follower detected. Programmer network updated.
Kenny, thank you very much for the follow, man. Okay, that feedback from AI was pretty good, actually. All right. Okay, let's try to now give it more context to see if AI is going to be happy with this response. Okay, this is now a little bit of a blocker, right? I think I kind of made it too aggressive. So, like, we need to be careful here during the feedback process that AI actually allows you to move forward. Like, it's like, explain the main features of Podman and how it differs from Docker. I have a feeling that we did that already. Wait, let's try again. Do it in one paragraph. Okay, let's try this. Basically just auditing our own AI to see how aggressive it is right now. Yeah. Yeah, this is now like insane, right? Just send me your username and I delete it right away. There is no such option. Send me your username here and I'll nuke it right away. Right now. How might you explain the benefits? Fuck. I think we made it a little bit more aggressive now. I think we made it a bit more aggressive. All right, on it, no problem, man. Nuking it right now. Give me 1 second. I'll just do it off screen here so we don't expose your private data. Yeah, I don't think you are on Program Network. I can't find that. Wait, maybe it's lowercase. No, I don't think there is such a user on Program Network. No. Let's see. Maybe use an underscore. Oh, there is one. Okay, sorry. Okay, give me 1 second. Yeah, got it. Okay. All right, I think we removed you. Yeah, you're gone. Cheers, buddy. All right, let's get back here. Let's get back to this. So one crappy thing is that we made the AI way too aggressive. Submit to Proctor agent. So I think we need to adjust the prompt. Yeah, we need to adjust the prompt a bit. Wait. Verify. Yeah, it's this guy here. Yes. Validate node access. Call Proctor agent. Yes. Create the Proctor user message, Proctor system prompt. So here's the prompt. You are an expert evaluator using Feynman technique. Your role is to grade user explanation of concepts, clarity, accuracy, completeness. No jargon or buzzwords defined or avoided. So this is the problem, right? This is way too aggressive. Example of good feedback. Think about the money to be useful. What problem does it solve? Pass threshold. Okay, we need to kind of fiddle with this a bit. This is a tough one. So let's see. So given that prompt, the explanation still wasn't sufficient enough for the user to pass to the next assignment. We need to adjust the prompt to not be a friction point. What can we do? So let's kind of ask this here. Let's also go to Gemini. Let's go here. Let's also go to ChatGPT and also ask it here. What is too strict for technical explanation that use the main terminology? Past thresholds may be too high for technically correct but jargon heavy explanations. Modify Proctor system prompt to clarify beginner clarity definition. Technical terms are accepted when used correctly. Focus on whether the explanation demonstrates understanding, not whether every term is defined. Beginner is in the field, not a complete novice, should be able to follow the logic. Relax jargon requirements. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yes. Let's give that a shot. Are the key points demonstrated in understanding covered? Clarity, does the explanation demonstrate the user understands the concept even if using technical terms? Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. I mean, maybe this is what was necessary now. Let's maybe try that again. So let's try the same. Let's try the same input that we gave it initially. What was it, I believe? I think we gave it this one. Let's see what the output is by the agent now. Yeah, but... And what is the threshold that we expect now? Yeah, so why didn't this pass? Makes no sense. Pass threshold 66. Yeah, so that's good. Pass must be true if score is greater or equal than 60. Yeah, so maybe it's our UI now that's farting out. Wait, let me try that again. Verification result. Okay, let's print that. Let's go here. Yeah, so score is 80, okay? Yeah, but okay, so maybe my logic now no longer makes sense. So this is good, yeah. But now where is our button? I believe we're missing now. I think that's maybe one of the regressions. Are we missing a complete button here? Only thing I see is try again. So this is very good. So it's very good feedback by the AI. I like that a lot. So it kind of does illustrate. It's almost like you're talking to a human. So that's good. It's just now we need to be able to mark this and go to the next concept and kind of try to finalize the whole learning path and see kind of if everything works and stuff like that. So we can see that here. And also we'll need to kind of create a bunch of stories. And what are all of these files that we updated? Yeah, there's a bunch of shit. Their feedback. Okay, so that's good. Very good, very good. Where was this thing? Let's just do this. Yes. Summation technically accurate and captures. Yeah, cool. Let's kind of review this. Yes. Okay, let's do that. Okay, very good. Yes, yes, that's correct. Yes. Okay, complete node, try again. Let's actually get back here. Complete node. I'll try again. Let's reverse that order. Yes. Jigdev, hey buddy, yeah, it's going very. I mean, I want to release it, and then I mean, maybe I want it today, but I'm not gonna be able to. But yeah, in a couple of days, it's gonna be out in production for sure. I think what I'm gonna do right now, we have the courses here, so this is gonna be called Learning Center or something like that. So yeah, so it's yeah, looking forward to that, man. How are you doing, buddy? You good yourself? Complete node. I see, okay. So actually, I suppose... Alex, how long have I been doing what exactly? Which one exactly? Can't check. I guess that's the one, right? I don't know, man. The whole platform has almost been built inside of the stream, so I don't know, a long time, I guess. It's not something I'm doing to finish. It's something that evolves over time. It's gonna take many years to, with the time I have, full-time job, kids and wife, to finish everything. But it's becoming very, very good.
Subscription protocol engaged.
It's becoming very good. Panda, thank you very much for the generate variations. Okay, so we're gonna have to get to that as well.
New follower detected. Programmer network updated.
Peter, thank you very much, man. That's very kind of you. Thanks. Okay, but let's now I'm just kind of getting into very nitty-gritty details, and that's okay. Kind of dislike how that crap looks like. So what I'm actually gonna do, I'm gonna do it like this instead. And I'll actually gonna do this as well. So we'll just kind of shuffle this a bit. Yes, yeah, exactly. Panda, hi to you as well, man. Thank you very much for, yeah, sending a message. Rounded full, flex, items, justify, center, shrink, 0. I mean, you could say, yeah, we can go with that, sure. Okay, that's maybe better. Okay, now, there's also potentially an icon we might be missing there as well. It's kind of just gonna go quickly, and now we are at the point where we need to kind of fiddle with these details now. So is this the node description? It is. Sure. Yeah. Yes. Get node type icon. And this is, in fact, actually a circle icon, I believe, right? Crap. Wait a second. Yeah, exactly. It is. Okay. So if I do just as a test, text danger or text warning, whatever it was, that should, in theory, yeah, but that's not the one I was referring to. Anyway. Are we still thinking about using AI for scoring? I mean, absolutely. I mean, AI, this is a purely AI feature, and it's actually working really well. I mean, I can actually already say, tell me something, Jig. What it is that you want to learn. Tell me something. Let me show you how far we got so far. So tell me, write a sentence, what it is that you want to learn. Let's try it out already now. I think it's already working really well, and I'm adding a lot of the stuff from the books that I read, because this whole feature is... Okay, so you're saying, what is your language of choice, JigDev? Okay, I would love to learn about memory management in C programming language. I'm a senior software engineer and a tech lead, and I'd like to get better at memory management and C programming language. Let's imagine that, right? So this is all live, right? So this is what we've been building past 2 days. We say career or personal. As you can see, I added this stuff from the book. You can see it says based on concepts from Ultra Learning by Scott Young. So essentially this one. So this whole feature we're building is based on Ultra Learning. Like this whole thing now is going to generate for us study material or guidelines based on Ultra Learning, on Feynman principle, on all of this. Okay, so let's try. Let's see. So we're gonna now say, what do you want to learn? We're shipping this to AI now, obviously, right? To the AI agent, and it's gonna now utilize all of the prompts and the prompt here is the core value, because we kind of wrote all the prompts to the AI based on these books that we read and stuff like that, right? So let's see if it's actually going to manage to generate something. It's auto-correcting itself as well now, because I wrote certain retry mechanisms where, hey, if it yields certain result, it kind of retries and tries something else. So it is taking a little bit, honestly, longer than I would expect, but there it is. It generates it. This learning path focuses on core memory management concepts in C, enabling the learner to actively manage memory, detect issues, and optimize performance. So you can see now it's applying the framework, basically concepts, facts, and procedures, and also emphasize, exclude. So basically this is an emphasize, exclude framework of learning where you say focus on these areas and do not focus on these areas, right? So what should we focus on? Pointers and addresses, dynamic memory allocation, memory leaks, and debugging, right? Then we're going to take a look at this. We say next and create track, and now we have our track. And now, of course, we go and now we need to learn, right? So this is what this is not going to generate is study material for you. The study material you can find anywhere. That is beyond the point. This is more about to encapsulate you in a framework. Then, of course, it says this is the benchmark. Successfully implement a C program that performs dynamic memory allocation for complex data structures, detects and fixes memory leaks, and demonstrates efficient blah, blah. Then we can go to flashcards and say, hey, generate some flashcards for me, so I can actually study this better, right? So I can whatever. So now it generates these. We go review and says, why is understanding memory allocation important in C programming? Let's see why. It directly affects program efficiency and stability, preventing memory leaks and fragmentation. Okay, got it. What problem does using malloc solve in C? It allocates a specified number of bytes of memory dynamically during runtime. Okay, yes. What should free be used in? When should free be used in C? It should be used to release memory that was previously allocated to avoid memory leaks. How does this stack memory differ from heap memory in C? Stack memory is automatically managed and limited in size, while heap memory is managed manually and can grow as needed. This is common sense, right? What problem does a memory leak cause in a C program? It leads to wasted memory resource, potentially causing the program to crash or slow down over time. Right, so this is so far that, and then we're gonna have some more reviews and stuff like that, blah blah blah. But I think as a guidelines to give you this, and of course then you need to do the procedures later on, and we're gonna get to that as well. Yeah, it is. I've been doing stuff off stream. Off stream. Describe the architecture of Podman and compare it to Docker's architecture. Okay, I need to use AI for this just so we can kind of skim through and validate our features manually. I did write unit tests, but let's see. I just need to kind of go back and forth with AI here. So I'm gonna give it this. Of course, man, my pleasure. Okay, your explanation is accurate and captures the key differences between Docker and Podman architecture as well. To enhance clarity, consider elaborating on how these architecture choices impact user experience and security in practical terms. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, complete. And then probably when we click complete, it should take us to the next. So let's just get back here. This boring shit we're gonna delegate to AI. When complete is clicked, it should select the next node in the learning path. Okay, so we go here, Podman versus Docker differences, list and explain the key differences between them. Okay, let's kind of go back here again. Let's just kind of go through the full path so we can see if we broke something, if things work. Oh, never mind. Let's go. Okay, let's give it this, right? This should suffice the AI, make it happy. Yeah, exactly. Explain the networking and how it differs. Okay. I mean, I guess we don't need to give. Yeah, there's so much shit. So that is kind of one of the. So I think yeah, and this is kind of what we're gonna have to adjust over time. Is yeah, but let's see. Okay, complete. And now we are at the procedure level. Master this procedure by solving variations of the challenge. Let's say generate variations because this is, yeah, this is also. So now we need to kind of fix this. And this is kind of the procedures, right? So in this framework from the Scott Young's book, Ultra Learning, the procedure is actually finally an actionable thing. So when you start learning something, you have to learn the concepts, you know, what is this? Why am I learning it? You know, how does it compare to something I'm already doing? So you learn these, you can see, that's why these first 4 things we had here were very much conceptual things. It's like us trying to understand how these things work, right? And now we are at the procedure where we're saying, hey, now you need to do something. And this is the most important part of this framework of work, is that you need to do things, right? So you can see that now, install Podman on Windows system using Windows, Linux, and verify. Okay, this is kind of useless, so that we need to... And I think good thing, let's see, clear and regenerate. Does this actually work? And this is a terrible UI, so we need to kind of improve this. Let's see, does this do it? So yeah, so this is not doing anything. JigDev, I'm actually considering that. Yes, I'm considering that because, and of course it would be very much PII type of data, right? So I would make sure to not associate it to any user for privacy reasons, but I think it would be useful for the sake of, it's just like we would need to think how could we utilize that data, right? So let's imagine that I store these things, right? It's like, how can it help us, right? What can we do with it so it's useful to us, right? So that is the thing. I was thinking about it last night, is like, hey, maybe just store. But I think what I will probably do is store these answers of all of us, because I'm going to be using this feature when I learn new things. I think storing the questions, for example, storing your questions is useful to generate flashcards, right? So for example, I could store the questions that you give to the AI, especially those when you fail, and then AI could be, okay, so user is kind of, because you literally give it to AI and write another prompt saying, okay, based on these answers, generate new flashcards that would fit the misunderstanding of the user. So user can kind of, you get what I mean? So if you keep kind of assuming something, you could so yes, I think storing these answers is important. Exactly, right? Exactly. Okay, let's kind of get here. And let's kind of fix this UI crap. Luckily, we don't need to code this garbage. We can delegate it here. Let's just find where this thing is. This view is pretty bad UI and UX wise. Solved and failed buttons should overlap not reserve the content space. That orange color is terrible. Clear and regenerate button shouldn't be secondary. And also currently it's not tied to any HTTP call. Migrating Docker containers. So yeah, so we have only 2 procedures. So this is kind of, yeah, this is something we're gonna have to play with AI related. Is like procedures are kind of, you could say, the most important repetitive part. It's yeah. So I think these learning paths will probably have to kind of expand them a bit, because I don't know. This does feel very shallow. I don't think this covers like, okay, maybe it does cover, I mean, if we follow this framework, it does cover the core essence of the technology, right? So in that sense, yeah, I guess it's good, right? Even though this is how I formulated the original learning path, right? So that's fine. If I successfully migrate a Docker-based application to Podman, ensuring equivalent functionality and performance, demonstrating proficiency in Podman operations and architecture. And if we go to flashcards again and we generate a new set of flashcards here, I want to check if it's still generating duplicates, because it did before. So let's kind of go and review. What command allows you to run container in Podman? You can use podman run to start a container, similar to Docker command, okay? What problem does using podman solve compared to Docker? Podman allows running containers without a daemon, enhancing security and ease of use in rootless environments. Why is Podman considered to be more secure than Docker? Podman supports rootless containers, reducing the risk of privilege escalation and limiting the attack surface. When should you choose Podman over Docker? Select Podman when you require better security practices, especially in multi-user environment or when running containers without root access. How can you manage containers with Podman without the need for Docker Compose? Podman provides a similar functionality to Podman generate commands and supports systemd integration for orchestration. What problem does Podman solve compared to Docker? Yeah, we already. How does it differ? The architecture. Podman runs containers as child processes of the user, while Docker relies blah blah blah. What feature does Podman offer that aligns with systemd? Podman can generate systemd service unit to manage containers. How does Podman handle container images? Can pull and manage images using the same commands as Docker, but it uses a different storage mechanism. Okay, sure. Okay, generate very, oh, this is pretty terrible, yeah? Yeah, it still didn't fix this. Install Podman on Linux machine, install Podman on Mac using Homebrew, and verify pulling image from remote. And there's one thing that I want to do, which is kind of make the AI draw the diagrams as well. So basically, I researched a little bit here in Mermaid, you know, the stuff that GitHub supports and most of the other services. Mermaid has a CLI that we can install in our API, and then the output we get from AI, we can pass the diagram that AI generates and then validate it on the backend as well. So we can also use AI and tell it, you know, depending on the task, generate the mermaid diagram, because I wanted it to generate images, and then with a little bit of a chat with AI, I figured, you know, it's way cheaper to just generate text instead of generating actual images, right? Okay. All right, good. That's better. Clear and regenerate. Generate variations. Lightning. What is happening? Come on. Okay. Generate variations. Screw that. Let's say here icon. Yeah, exactly. Get rid of that. Get rid of that crap. Why is it saying completed? Procedural drills. Okay, so this shows the amount. Okay. Cool. And I suppose this is an icon of some sort. Wait, I think we have icon circle somewhere, literally. Like, should be a singular place. Front end. Track details. Yeah, icon circle. Yeah, we have a bunch of these places. Okay, fuck it. Okay, generate variations. That is super weird, man. That actually makes absolutely no sense at all. Give me 1 second. 0 sense, because AI did write this code well. At least what I can see, so it has nothing to do with that. What the fuck is happening? Wait a minute. Okay. What the hell, man? Are you kidding me? What is that crap, man? Why? Why would you write this, man? Seriously? Jesus Christ, man. That is absolutely absurd. This is also very disgusting. I don't know, man. I don't like that. What the hell with this, dude? That is absurd. So bad. What is this crap? Yeah, I don't know. Also, why are these procedures gone when I leave, right? We should also probably be storing these procedures as well, because user might just leave. We're not. I mean, so that's maybe one of the things we need to do in the backend. But this also, I don't know, the whole view just is terrible. And I don't know what to do about it. Okay, but let's write it down. So, and also, why would you regenerate a procedure here? Because it almost seems it's kind of regenerating the same ones every single time when we do something, right? So it's kind of a little bit weird. Why would I regenerate it here? Because I mean, let's see if we keep regenerating. Carol, buddy, hey man, good man. What about you? How are you? How are you, my dude? mean, we could leave that. Okay, but let's imagine we actually working through holiday. Yeah, man, I'm also on vacation, so just decided to chill out with you guys a bit. Okay, wait, what happens when we actually do that? It's gonna call this again. So we do a put request. How is the work going, Kirill? Oh, no, I see what's happening. Okay. Sure. Sure. And then it calls this, which is absolutely terrible, actually. This is a new system I've built past 3 days. It's based on Ultra Learning book on this, and it's based on Facement technique and some other techniques of learning, basically, right? So yes, it's going to be part of our learning feature, and it is a way to it embraces many frameworks of learning and approaching things. So I think it's gonna be yeah. Aldo, you mean the Udemy course that I started like working on? It never really materialized, and actually I'm a little bit sad for that, but I will continue it, and actually I'm gonna have it on Programmer Network, so not on Udemy. I'm gonna have it on Programmer Network because I want to get more people to sign up as well, and I think Udemy is kind of dying off, if you may. I think it's not really dying off as a platform. There's a lot of courses there. It's an amazing platform for learning. But I think I read some statistics, and I believe that 70% of people who buy the course on Udemy never even click start. So never even click start, right? Number one. And out of these 30%, the remaining 30%, only, I believe, I don't know, 6% or 5% finish the course ever. So you could say like 95% of people who purchase these courses, 70% of them never start them, right? Yeah, I will, Kirill. I will, yes. I'll integrate a payment system, yeah. And then I'm gonna use Cloudflare streaming to upload the course. So this is where I'm gonna upload courses, not just me, well, anyone else if they want to sell the course, right? But content is no, because somebody said because of ChatGPT. No, not really. I wouldn't say it's because of ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT made it worse, yes. But I think ChatGPT made it worse. But it's not because of ChatGPT. I think never in human history an average human being was incapable of starting and finishing anything, right? And that is because, and I read this in some of the recent books, a majority of people are passive learners, passive content consumers, and there's nothing worse for one's brain than constantly, forever, for years, just passively consuming content, because you're not actively engaging in the learning process. And as the saying from this very book says, as Scott Young says, passive learning yields knowledge, active learning yields skills, right? So I would say that the reason why people don't finish courses that they buy isn't related to AI. I think this was the same before AI existed. I think AI has just accelerated it, and I think it has made it worse. Because an average what was it, an hour ago when I started the stream, somebody comes to me and says, can you tell me a resource where I can learn, I don't know, JavaScript? To me, these questions are so absurd today that I genuinely can't believe that people ask that. Like, when I get a question like that, I'm completely confused. Like, I don't know if the question is real or not. It's like, if you don't know today where you can learn things, you have far greater problems than that, right? Like, if you're asking someone today, where can I learn something on a planet where there's so much content, amazing content that's free, then, I don't know. I would be very skeptical about that person being an engineer in the first place. It is almost absurd. Yeah, it is. I mean, I would say that majority of people watching these streams or YouTube are mostly people either without jobs or very, very young people. Yeah. And very broke people for the most part. Yes, as well. And I mean, this is a gaming platform, right? So, I mean, it is not to be, it's not really weird that, that is the thing, right? Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. What is Programmer Network about? I would say that the name itself hopefully implies what it is about, but if not, then that's another problem. But yeah, Programmer Network is about fishing community. So we're building a community of fishing enthusiasts here, people basically who enjoy fishing in shallow waters. That is kind of in a nutshell what we do here. What a disgusting piece of code. Oh my fucking god, man. Cartoon Network, exactly. Oh my god, so bad. Yeah, Programmer Network, www.programmer.network is a platform about fishing enthusiasts. Because, the name itself very much is indicative of that. Yeah, man, absolutely share it, dude. Of course, I would love to. I would love to. Very nice, man. Very cool. Very good. Very good. I love it. I love the background. Very beautiful. Very kind of chill. Nice. Is it supposed to... Yeah, where is the toast? Where can I see it? Oh, I see. Push toast. I see. Okay. Okay, I'll just... I'll just try to be natural and see what my expectations are. So as you can see, I expected that as soon as I click on it, it's going to show me the toast. Just food for thought. I don't know. I didn't know that I also expect these commands to typically be to the right side, not to the left. But just that's again, that's just my brain.
New follower detected. Programmer network updated.
Thank you very much for the follow, Lyra Rod. Appreciate it, man. So that's the only thing so far, right? I built that. I built that in code. Let me show you. I built that recently. Programmer network streaming overlays. Yeah. Actually, I can show you later. But I built that system myself, and then I generated the audio. I generated the audio using 11 labs. So basically, you can see here. This is where I generated for each type. So I found this Eva futuristic robot helper.
Follower detected. Programmer network expanded. Follower detected. Programmer network expanded.
So actually, if I show you that, I just took one evening because I'm on vacation and I'm like, fuck, all of these cool streamers, these assholes, right? These like proper streamers, you know, they have these cool things and I don't, right? So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna code it. So I had to write some C#, well, of course, with the help of AI, because I'm not gonna waste a lot of time on this. But I can show you how I did it. So I'm using this. Thing called. Yeah, I'm gonna show you that. So you can see here under this streamer bot, there's these actions. And basically when some action happens, when some event occurs, when somebody follows me, you know, we do certain things. He means the username. Okay, fuck it. But anyway, like if we go here, I love the sound. Some people might get irritated by it. I love the sound. That's pretty much... that illustrates me, right? So it's a good indicative thing of me, right? So this is kind of what I did. So this is basically what I did. I just made them different colors. So this is a follower, this is a subscriber, this is a resubscriber, donation, raid, bits, host, and that's kind of it. And then each one of them has their own sounds, right? So if I go here, where is that crap? Where did it go? So if I go here and imagine somebody subscribed, even though all of you guys are poor, and that's perfectly fine.
Subscription protocol engaged. Welcome to the core network.
How cool is that? Listen.
Subscription protocol engaged. Welcome to the core network.
Dude, kind of freaks me out in a terrible way. I love it. Shit. Kind of, It's like, the future is not good. Exactly, agreed. That's why I love it. Okay, let's get back to the library here. Very nice, man. Very nice. Very good. I would just say that this demo is confusing me a little bit. So if you could kind of aggregate these a little bit better. It's just so many inputs. It gets very overwhelming. Like, oh man, super cool. Ah man, I like how it looks like. And you can also, animation stops when you hover it. So nice. So nice. Let me give it a star. Very nice, man. Very beautiful. Not much to say. I mean, it is just a toaster, but it seems a really well-made one. And that's cool, bro. You got 100 stars almost, so that's perfect.
New follower detected. Programmer network updated.
Alex, thank you very much. Guys, if you care about that, go and give it a star. That's one of our viewers. Build that. It's pretty cool. Of course, man. Of course. Thank you. Okay, let's get back to our own problem here. I also added a white theme because, you know, it was very simple. All right.
Programmer network updated.
Thank you very much, guys. That's very kind of you. Okay, so essentially now we should have generated this. Let's review that. I hate this review. These are all HTML files. So I generate handlebars HTML files, and they contain Tailwind CSS in it and JavaScript. So it's all JavaScript and it's just as HTML. Yeah. So basically inside of my OBS, basically here, you can see I have them here. So if I open it, it just points to my subscriber HTML file and then to my new follower file inside of my Windows Linux subsystem. So nothing crazy. Very interesting. But it enables me to change them now in 5 seconds, right? Yeah, I fucking hate this. Yeah, it was a fun little project. Thank you, man. It was a... I need to push that repository to Git, and then I'll just open source it. It's just an idea. Today, anybody can really do that almost. But wait a minute. I saw some crap here. Yeah. None of these strings should be used like that. Let's turn them all into constants. Procedure, created, etc. Okay, let's get back here now. Let's see if that new endpoint, new service works. Okay. Ah, shit. Okay. Cool. We had to run that migration file. Actually, yeah, I need to check how that migration looks like, but now it should be fine, I hope. Drill pending. Okay. Okay, that was a bit weird. Wait, maybe our server was restarting. Why was that so slow? Okay, so now it's good. We clear it. We try clearing it at least. Regenerate true. Okay, sure. So let's take a look at our PG admin here. So let's say so we have now, what do we have? We have procedure drill variation, right? Yep. Sure. Node user ID primary key. Okay, great. Seems correct. Let's take a look at the migration file. Okay, if it doesn't exist already, create a table. Yeah, man, I mean, for me at this point in time in life, it's all about just building something that solves some problem, and something that this platform I'm building is probably the worst possible thing you can do to yourself, because ultimately it's a very complex, multi-variable, hugely complex problem, right? It's and I'm not even talking about technicalities like you know, building these features, especially today with AI. The complexity arises in the fact that building a social platform, you shoot yourself in the knee. The chances that you're gonna fail, I mean, whatever you define as failure, are very high, right? Because people, you know, like to watch crap. They like to, they like to watch TikToks and all of this garbage, right? Because an average person has no self-respect, right? Respect on their own time, on their own, you know. Have you ever used sync engines? JigDev, you would need a bit more specific. Maybe, but I can't. You would need to kind of give me some example, because I can't think of it right now. Sync in what sense, right? It's a little bit too broad right now, so I would need to kind of... Electric SQL. I don't think I've ever heard of that in my life, no. No, I mean, the thing is like my biggest problem, right? I think you know me well enough, JigDev, now after these few years of me streaming on and off, is that I typically don't use services like this, right? I don't know what I don't know what this company is. I see that this is a product, right? And I still love SQL, right? I think that I would say that Postgres is probably, I mean, for example, at Programming Network, we're using Redis as well. But in all honesty and all reality, I would say that 95% of companies are good enough with Postgres only forever. So I would say for 95% of businesses, Postgres already would be sufficient, even without adding Redis or anything like that. In a Node.js environment, you typically need to lift your cache because of the single-threaded nature of Node.js. But if that wasn't the case, you could use Postgres built-in caching mechanisms, right? So I would say this is probably something cool and it solves some problems, sure. But whenever I see a database mixed with, like when I see this is like, I would never, right? This is absolutely, I don't know who, I mean, for me, a person who thought about this idea must be completely moronic in their mind, right? When I see UI talking about tables, I want to vomit instantly, right? Instantly, I get sick in my stomach, right? When I see create table, and then next to it, I see something that looks like a UI component, I literally get sick in my stomach. So that to me, just, of course, I've been shaped a lot by the past, so of course, but this I would never do. I would never write code like this, right? Yeah, but this is the premise itself is wrong, right? Like if you just blindly read these things, then this is true. But the very premise of this is completely wrong. This is absolutely not true. You can make a choice to make your apps insanely complex. Yes, you make that choice, but this is inherently wrong. Developing web applications hasn't gotten insanely complex. That's complete bullshit, right? The fact that people decide to do that is the same reason why people will choose a tool like very much like this tool. Like, right? I mean, like this is literally, these types of tools are why this sentence even exists, right? So this is almost like a paradox in a sense. They're describing a problem that they themselves are creating. We don't need this fucking crap to build an app. You install a UI library, an SPA library, you build a CRUD API, and that's it. There's nothing complex about it. It's so simple. Your app sends some request, gets some response, and that's it. That's how the internet worked for 30 years, right? So this is ironic to say at best, because these types of tools that are made, 500 of them every single day, is why people shoot themselves in the face, because they choose these random tools that might or might not exist in 2 weeks from now, right? And then they complain that things are not complex, man. Things are exactly how they were. You can still write plain JavaScript if you want for simple things. You can still write jQuery. Like, who prevents you to do that? Nobody. Who prevents you to build a simple API that delivers your data, that provides authorization? Nobody. No, for sure, Kirill, you just sent this as an example. Please, you can, of course, and you should explore whatever you want. The point is, this is not true, right? I hear this bullshit every fucking day, and this is not true, right? So no matter where I've wrote code in any company past 20 years, I've never seen complex code, because you choose by your own incapability to write complex code. If you can write code, if you know basic fundamental principles, if you know how to make technical decisions that favor developer experience and the customer, you will almost never write complex code, because code that we write for web apps is inherently simple. When I click here, show this view. When I click there, redirect me there. When I click this button, send a request somewhere, give me the response. This is the stuff we've been doing for so many decades now that it's absurd to assume now, because you chose to add 15 different layers, oh, I want to cache this thing, and this is gonna invalidate it. This is a different problem, right? And this is due to the terrible mistakes that people make, not because building things is inherently hard. It isn't. It always has been pretty easy. Building web pages has never been hard, right? The fact that people choose to do that because they mistake their job for some sort of a playground, that is a vastly different problem, right? Vastly different problem. I mean, but I do. No. I mean, and that's fair enough, Jigdev. I mean, that is perfectly fine, man. I don't expect you to. I'm not saying this so you agree or disagree. I just think that oftentimes by not following the basic principles we already know, we are inventing these things that inherently don't solve anything, and they introduce some other problems, right? Because every single time when you say, oh, for example, let's say sync engines. Like you're saying, oh, I see a value in it. Yes, but I'm sure that there are 50 different things that also you would now have to read and understand, fuck, yeah, it provides value here, but then we lose on here and here and here, right? There isn't a single technology on earth where you say, man, this solves everything. If I just switch to this doesn't bring any issues to it. It does bring issues, right? It might solve something, but it's gonna introduce other issues, right? But what data, Carol, right? What are you talking about? Let's actually, that's a very interesting discussion. What do you mean data faster? Let's talk about programmer network, because this is what this stream is about. Every single of these requests is loaded in 40 milliseconds. And this is the most standard app that follows core principles past 20 years. So when you say data is going to load fast or whatever, can you give me an example, let's say on this very platform, where that would benefit? So let's take a look at our response times, right? For example, just a silly example. Let's take our response times. 66 milliseconds, 55 milliseconds, 226, 60 milliseconds. So when we talk about these things, they sound very good in practice. But when you say, oh, it's hard to describe, but there are better user experiences, can you give me some tangible examples of that, right? Which experiences are those? And we don't need to use this website as an example. Let's take any website, whatever you want. I want to hear a tangible example of that, right? Because no matter what, right? Yeah, I mean, well, exactly. It doesn't matter. I mean, we're only using Redux in some other places, and we're not using Redis for these things. We're only using Redis for authentication, right? No, it would, and it is. We're not using Redis for this, right? So it definitely would, right? So none of the stuff that you're seeing here is utilizing Redis, right? So all of this stuff here is basically just directly coming from Postgres, right? So every single one of these things, meetups, community, the only thing that's in Postgres that it's in Redis is actually our notifications, if you remember, right? So it is actually directly doing that. 123 milliseconds. Whatever, 188 milliseconds, news, let's see, news, 93 milliseconds, 90 milliseconds, 97 milliseconds, right? So look, I'm not trying to disprove or say that what you're saying is wrong. I'm sure that there's always better and worse ways for this and that. It's just, I still yet have to see what is exactly what are these things solving, and what exactly is missing in the context of simple HTTP and simple separation of concerns. So I have a front end, I have a back end. Back end is only specialized in getting me data as quickly as possible. That's how I like to build my apps, at least, right? So a lot of these things that are introduced are solving some problem that's very, very undefined for me, because it's not the speed, because it's very hard to build something as fast as a JSON-based API, because our API for Programmer Network, its only responsibility is to do authorization, of course, then security and stuff, and to deliver JSON to the UI. It doesn't do any rendering of HTML. It doesn't pre-render any hybrid bullshit, right? But again, you're talking like Jigdev. I get you, man. Like, of course, I've tried many of these things, but you're very much talking as a theory book, right? Like, you don't need to do any of that, right? I don't prefetch anything, right? So I don't need anything to keep doing diffs on it, right? That is the whole point, right? So what you're doing now is called solutionism. You invent a problem that doesn't exist, and then you solve it by something, right? Every single thing that you said there, none of that has to be done at all, right? So that is not a problem. Maybe it is a problem for certain types of apps, some critical system somewhere, sure, but that you're solving a problem that doesn't exist, right? So for example, go now to the Programmer Network and try to find that problem, right? That's what I'm saying. Not just go to any platform. So I'm just using this because that's what we're discussing now, but please don't misunderstand me. So the point is, you're saying, hey, this is doing all of this. It kind of does pre-declared queries. This is like, who cares? Why? Right? You don't need to tell me what it does and what the benefit in theoretical sense is. Is like who has that problem, right? Yeah, sure, but homepage is the heaviest thing. So 600 milliseconds is still insane considering that when you get to a homepage, right? When you get to a homepage, we fetch so many things. We fetch the thoughts, we fetch the latest news, the events, blah blah blah, right? And that is still very fast, right? But let's say that it's 300 milliseconds. Let's actually imagine that your method is better, and let's imagine that this wasn't 600 milliseconds, it was 300 milliseconds. Would that matter? Would you make such a technical decision where you have optimized something that doesn't need optimization in the first place to prove that this tool might, and actually I don't think that tool that you're referring to would actually do it faster anyway, right? Because if you do server-side rendering, if you do this shit, then chances that this is going to become slower are more likely than faster, because now your server has more constraints. It has to render HTML as well. So now you need another service that's specialized in rendering HTML. So that, right? Yeah, exactly. But again, it's all theoretical, right? It's all theoretical. I hear this argument all the time. No, you're not, Kirill, please. Of course, I want you to share your opinion. It's just these are very abstract, very abstract things, right? Because I see people like, hey, would this work on 3G? I don't care if it's going to work on 3G, right? If I was building a platform that's supposed to work in rural Africa, I would of course make vastly different decisions about that product in so many ways, right? So the whole infrastructure, the whole architecture would be different. But we need to be very careful not to use these arguments such as, well, what if a user is loading this website from a super slow network? Who does that? I mean, which slow network? Where? You get what I mean? So again, I mean, we can of course justify anything by finding these cases that fit our justification, but in reality, right? Who is on 3G? Who do you know in your life that's using 3G? Who do you know in your life that's still on dial-up or ADSL or right? So it's like, you know, it's the same when you're building a website and saying, yeah, but does this work in all browsers? Nobody cares if it works in all browsers. It has to work in 2 major browsers or maybe 1. It has to work in Chrome. So a lot of it is very, very theoretical, right? That is the problem. There's no more 3G network. Exactly. I mean, that thing is also being killed. Yeah. Sure, Kirill. Absolutely. And let's actually agree on that. Yes. Let's imagine most of your, right? Still, the service that you're referring to is not going to be faster than this anyway, right? Yeah, but I guarantee you that what you're suggesting wouldn't be faster than this. I absolutely guarantee you, right? There's no chance that it will be faster. So now, right? So if it was, so let's say that I delivered. No, it wouldn't. No, I don't think that makes sense. I don't think it would, because I don't see that how would that affect pagination, right? Like, let's say this is pagination. That wouldn't affect pagination at all, right? Subsequent request is actually relevant because we also cache here stuff as well, right? In certain places, so that's beside the point, right? But this also depends on the UX, right? Because you're saying like, so what is the UX of the users, right? Like if somebody comes to Programmer Network and clicks on articles, and then goes to meetups, the chances that they're gonna go back to articles, even if it wasn't cached, are very marginally low, right? How do you handle caching? Depends. No, sure, definitely. I mean, if it doesn't diverge too much from the standards, why not? Yes. How do you handle caching? Ado, I think that caching is My goal always is to try not to cache if I don't have to, right? So caching for me personally is always the last resort of the optimization. What, as the Uncle Bob and all of the old books, all of the Bibles of programming say, the hardest things in programming is caching and naming variables, right? And naming things. So caching should be avoided to the maximum degree when you can, until you actually see a bottleneck somewhere and say, fuck, this is too slow. Whatever this slow is, we need to optimize now, right? So I would say that caching, in reality, not for Hello World projects, right? I would say whenever you can, avoid caching, right? Because cache in real projects with real customers, I'm not talking about Hello World apps, 3 out by 1 errors. Exactly, Surly Dev, exactly. So I would say the best thing you can do to yourself is not cache anything until you have to, right? So it's like, okay, fuck, now we have to, you know, optimize that. Yeah, the only thing that I actually think it's fucking dumb here is today we're kind of getting closer to finalizing one of these features for learning that I'm basically building for myself first and foremost, and then for everyone else. So basically now we are at the 90%. So this 10% now is going to take as long as the first 90% as always, because now we need to test things, find the edge cases, create all the stories and whatever, right? Are internships a good path for students? Yeah, absolutely, man. They're amazing. Their internship is the best thing you can do for yourself to kind of, to move forward, especially in the industry like today, which is very tough. Okay, so I can see that. Well, I mean, I think based on his question, it's clear that he can't, right? Because I would say that some things are just naturally implicit. Like if he could find a job, he probably wouldn't have asked at the first place, right? So, because that is just common sense, right? Like, oh, you should not work for free, you should work for money. Yeah, exactly. But I don't think that he has that option, right? Okay, let's optimize this. This is pretty bad. This is pretty bad. We could have simply made the can I show you a stack for the backend? Just paste the technologies there and then let's discuss it. Yeah. All right, let me read it. Was there any specific reason you chose not to go to Google Ads? Yes, bots. Yes, because with the 3 methods that I've added, you have to be validated. If you log in through GitHub, you have to have validated your email. Same goes with LinkedIn and Twitch. Google, Google. There's a lot of bots and idiots creating Google accounts, so that's the main reason. My pleasure, man. I'm actually, so Bullseye, I'm not sure like how to answer your question, man. You just listed there half of the industry, right? So you need to be more specific. I'm not sure where you are right now. What are you trying to do? How much you already know? That's not how programming works, right? You don't just write 25 different tools and say, I'm going to use this. Programming, it's the same thing you wouldn't do if you had to solve, to fix something around your house. You wouldn't go buy 23 tools and then you realized you just need a screwdriver, right? So this is not how software is built. This is not how architecture is done. That's not how infrastructure is built. This is not how we build software. We build software by starting somewhere, and then as the requirements arise and as we stumble upon problems, we introduce tools to solve these problems. We don't pre-pick tools and assume we're gonna have some problems, right? So I don't exactly know, right? I don't know exactly why you pasted all that, what it is that you want to build, but you will not learn that, especially if you're a beginner ever, probably ever, but the chances that you're going to learn all that are almost zero anyway, because I suggest you highly to just start somewhere and try to be persistent for 2-3 days before you create this majestic plan and set yourself up for failure completely, right? This reminds me of these fat people who get super obese. Then after 20 years of sitting and not caring about their health, they start exercising and they want to become athletes in 3 days, right? Doesn't work, my friend. If you haven't been training for 20 years, it's going to take years to it. So it's the same here. You cannot make this grand plan, right? It doesn't work like that. So first, build a simple UI, build a simple API, and that's for 90% of projects, that's enough. Have 2 Docker images, maybe Docker Compose, and that's it. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. The biggest problem that, back in my days when I was learning programming when I was a kid, people didn't even know that these things exist. The problem is many of you guys go to ChatGPT now and you feel empowered. You feel that you know what you're talking about, right? It's like, yeah, look at me. I just listed 45 different concepts, right? But you didn't. AI did that, right? And this is the biggest tragedy of all, right? Is that you get this sense of empowerment while you actually don't know shit, right? That is the problem. Because now with the AI, you just like, I know because a lot of people come to this stream using very, very, very heavy words, very hard words, but they've never actually built anything using any of these technologies because it's so easy. That's why I say there's a huge difference between passive learning, meaning just watching someone else, and active learning, right? Because again, passive learning gains you some knowledge, but active learning gives you skills. So you cannot watch a YouTube video, memorize some phrases like RabbitMQ, PubSub, GCP, and then go around uttering that nonsense because you've never built anything with it. And the only really things that matter, the only thing that matters is like, is my experience, my understanding rooted in knowledge that I created by building a skill, or is it rooted in a mere theory? I've heard some content creator speaking about it, right? Because if it's the latter, nobody cares. Absolutely nobody cares. Yeah, that's so fucking bad, man. Come on, dude. No, it's fine, man. I'm a realist. I'm not streaming to tell people bullshit. I'm here to help people. So if I scared him and if I leave him at least with some thoughts, that's already good. I accomplished what I wanted. Because, you know, this is not an echo chamber or you know, I'm not here for you guys to follow me. I don't give a crap. I'm here to help and to have fun, and if some people dislike that, that's their problem, not mine. That's just how it is. We are all in this ADO together. Exactly, my dude. So no difference for me. But you know me by now. I hate bullshit and I hate content creator crap. We're not here to tap each other's over back. We're here to build things and to do things. So if somebody wants to talk about Vim and bullshit like that and some crap, and I don't know, if somebody wants me to tell them if you buy a split keyboard, your life is going to change and you're going to get 32% more IQ, this is not the stream for that, right? This is not a stream for that. Just not. Procedure text. Get node type icon. Target solid, target outline. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, my dude.
New follower detected. Programmer network updated.
Thank you very much for the follow. Thanks. That's just how it is, man. That's just how it is in life. You either I use NeoVim. Yeah, that's definitely making you more productive. If you're using NeoVim, you're completely now writing better code, because you know, code has always been about keyboard and IDE. Everybody knows that, right? I think, and I think actually, if you do your hands like this on a split keyboard, I've heard that you get around 22% better quality code as well. So if you kind of put your hands in an X shape and also you use your split keyboard in an upside down thing, I've heard that you get around 20% more you know, productivity. Don't trust me. Listen to these testimonials. Since I bought a split keyboard, I became a lot smarter individual. It's the multiplier, exactly. It's the multiplier, 100%. 100% a multiplier. Because everybody knows that the skill doesn't come from brain and works of practice and years of practice. Everybody knows that skill comes from a keyboard. So I mean, actually, though, for those of you who don't program yet and you want to become programmers, just buy a split keyboard and you're already a programmer. You don't even have to study. Everybody knows that. It's just common sense. Actually, noise cancelling headphones are useful. My company bought me these. They're like 300 euros. It's Sony VH. Man, these are amazing. No, this is important. On certain interviews time, I don't know what that means. Are you suggesting that you're faster in Vim than I am in, let's say, VS Code? Is that what you're saying? Because I'll show you in 3 seconds that you're not. Just making sure you're not saying that, because in 3 seconds I'll show you that you're not. Okay, good, fine. I mean, this is a mechanical keyboard I have. Listen, listen. This here easily is 6% IQ. Look at this. You see, you hear this sound? Every time I hear this sound, my brain basically is no longer dumb. I kind of go from a dumb person to like an average person. See? And if I press the key faster like this, and then occasionally I hit the space key as well, look at that. Now my IQ is around 9% higher. See? Now hitting the space is kind of has a very dull sound. It's not kind of mechanic key, right? So it's kind of, but if I go back to the B, there it is. There it is. And you see kind of in my background now as I'm pressing this key, the code is becoming better as well. Look at that. You see? That's it. So that's how you learn programming. You buy, as an adult, you spend 700 euros on a keyboard. And that's how you do it. Definitely. You never been in an interview with a time limit? Definitely. I definitely haven't. If you say so, my friend, I definitely haven't. Boss fight. Jesus. I definitely haven't been. I've never been in an interview, man. Because these past 20 years that I worked, I would just show up at the company, you know, and they would just say, man, you're so pretty. We want to give you a job instantly. And actually, people always ask me, Alex, how come you're so pretty? And I always say it's because of my mechanical keyboard and because of my Vim. That's why. And they say, okay. Easily. Vertical monitor is kind of, I would say around 10 IQ points, definitely. I don't know why you're so upset. You mean me? I hope you're not referring to me. I'm not upset, man. We're just having fun here. I don't know if you're talking to me or someone else. I don't know why you're so upset. Skills are coming from practice and hard work. I'm finding it fun. Why am I custom? Exactly. Exactly. What is this crap? Where is this? So we're getting pretty far with this, I think. I think maybe tonight and tomorrow, and I should be able to push this to production. I'm actually looking forward to that. There's just still some UI things that I heavily dislike, and there's going to be a lot of back and forth with AI. We need to kind of, we need to, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. We need to adjust the AI here a bit. And then of course, if I go to production, we'll kind of need to put it somewhere under, so courses is going to go under learn. Primary reason, yeah. So yeah, I'll need to kind of put it somewhere there. Social media manipulation in one image. Oh, what is this? Let's take a look at that. Ah, fuck that. Politics. AI engineering trends. All right, never mind. Okay. Okay, let me just commit a bunch of these things because I have a bunch of changes now. Let me just quickly skim through it. Okay. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of work, man. That's going to be the core value, is figuring out how to make... Which one is better to learn? I mean, you shouldn't learn any of them if you don't need global state, right? Again, I mean, even if you're now at the beginning of your career, you should stop using better or worse words when it comes to engineering. We're not discussing a taste of hamburgers, right? We're discussing tools that are highly complex and have applications in certain areas, right? So first lesson, if you want to be an engineer, is stop using vague terminology for a highly complex industry, right? Or at the very least, define set of variables in which we can, or definitions under which we can have a discussion to figure out, under quotes, what is better or worse, right? These words don't belong in software engineering. Better or worse. Better how? Better for what? You know, what problem are you dealing with? So that's the first and core most important lesson. You know, you have to... Becoming an engineer, it has nothing to do with learning to write code. It has everything to do with shifting your mindset in how you think about things, and, you know, how much you can detach yourself from your personal emotions and preferences and try to make rational decisions based on the requirements and needs and the problem you're solving and stuff, right? Ah, shit. Alrighty, cool. The thing is, sure, maybe right? Maybe, but I think the part of the process of acquiring information is having someone to guide you to ask the right questions, right? So instead of, so I agree with you, but what I'm always trying to do with our discussions we have in this stream is to trigger people, even irritate them consciously, willingly sometimes, so they can formulate these questions and thoughts themselves. Because if I always fall back to reformulating things to fit one's mind, then it's not the person that's learning, it's me learning to formulate questions for someone who might not have the experience, right? So I think that's why it's important for all of us, not just me. I'm the only difference between me and some of you here is that I have a podium to stream, right? But we all have responsibility for younger generation of developers to guide them to think, not to learn frameworks. Nobody cares about frameworks and databases and stuff like that, right? Engineering job is about thought process, about critical thinking. It's not about which library should I learn, right? So whenever any of you have opportunity to guide people, you know how the saying goes, you know, teach me how to teach me how to fish, right? So it's the same thing here. This is the hard part of becoming engineer, is shifting your average mindset, binary thinking and lack of critical thinking to something highly different, right? Chandler, what? I don't know what that means, man. I'm not sure if you're asking me a question or someone else. But if you don't understand it, it's okay. You have to just try harder. You have to try to think at least. Well, I'm sorry, man. Maybe you can watch the video again and try to understand it then. Go and watch the video again. Go watch the video, and maybe if you watch it 2-3 times, maybe you will understand. Yes.
New follower detected.
Shit. Okay.
Programmer network updated.
Thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. This is probably deprecated, this enum crap. Most likely. This is probably deprecated, so let's fuck that. Okay, here this was replaced by our form. Very good. Useless comment as most of them are when it comes to AI. Nice code. Yeah, it is a nice code. It's an amazing code. Yes. Okay, good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Can I ask something? Absolutely, man. Ask anything. Very happy to help, dude. Of course you can. Of course you can. Very good. I would say very good as well. Yes. And then we removed some shit, so okay, good. We don't have to review that. That's gone. That's dead. Cleaned up some stuff here, sure. I mean, okay, sure. So many files, Jesus Christ. Review. Yeah, this fucking sucks. What is this? Yeah, this is pretty bad. What is this? Open changes. Review rating buttons. Review rating. Yeah. Why do you do that? Is beyond me, honestly. Very good, very good. Not a fan of this though. That's kind of, yeah. Could be a bit better. Also, yeah, this is absolutely fucking terrible as well. Handler generate drill. If selected node or track ID is null, return early. Very good. Then we try to dispatch that. We unwrap. For some reason, why are we unwrapping? We're getting the result here. Sure. Okay. I've been learning Redis for the last 10 days. I'm trying to learn it, but after doing it seems a bit complicated. Combined reducers are coming. So any tips? I think I recorded a Redis tutorial at one point. Give me 1 second. I think I recorded something very quickly on Redis. I mean, most of my videos are very low effort. This is like 2 years ago. Hey there, team. Alexander here again, and thanks for watching. Right. I don't know, man. I recorded this 2 years ago, so you can watch it. So I'll just send this. I don't know if you want to watch it. It's up to you. I don't care much. I think, yeah. I think Redis is a very simple concept, and I I just don't want to spend 20 minutes explaining Redis now. But I'll just spend 2 minutes for you just to kind of try to be very quick, right? And then if you want, watch my video. Redis is let me try to explain it, summarize that video, then you watch if you want it. So let's start from the problem, right? So why do we need things like Redis, right? So why do we need global state and let's call it state machines, right? Why do we need this, right? So why do we need this in the first place? Why are you even learning that? This should be your first question. Why the hell am I learning this crap? Am I learning this because I watched it on YouTube, or because I know because of the problem I have? And it's probably the first thing. It's normal. You're junior, so you're kind of mimicking, following what everyone else is doing, and that's fine. That's how most do it, right? So this is you here, and you know, I have no idea why I need it, but I know I need it, right? Because others are doing it. So this is kind of probably you right now, and many other people where you stand at this given moment, right? Anyway, so we have Redis, right? And Redis has this central state. So you have a state, and in that state, let's say the only thing our initial state is 0. So this is, imagine this is our global state, and we can access this state anywhere in our app. So this is our app. This can be any app, React app, Angular, Vue.js, plain JavaScript. Redis is agnostic of the technology. You can use Redis with plain JavaScript if you want, or you can use it with any of these things. They all have, under quotes, their drivers, right? So, and with that being said, right, you have that global state, and imagine all of these are components, and you know, you want this state to be available to everybody, to the whole app. So you want to be able to say inside of this component here somewhere, hey, I need a piece of this global state, right? So here you would basically you would use the context provider, because that's how you would, let's say, share that state in React. In React, you would install this React Redis library, and then you would consume a piece of state from my global state here, right? So you would kind of be able to get whatever the value of this x, and then you would be able to also change the value of this x. And the way that we change values in Flux, when it comes to flux pattern is using dispatch, right? So instead of manually mutating the value of x, so instead of somewhere in your application saying x is equal to 2 and then x is equal to 4 manually, for us to change this value, we have to dispatch we have to call a function that gets an object as an argument, and then catches it in the reducer, as we're going to see in a second, and then update that. So here you can say, okay, I want to dispatch an object, and then later on you create action creators, but I want to dispatch an object with a type of change x, and then I want the value of that x to be something else. So, you know, you can say I want this value to be 4, right? So I want this x that's initially 0, I want it to be 4 now, right? So you dispatch this. So here you have some button in this component here. So you have some little button here. And then when you click on that button, you basically call this dispatch. So when I click on this button, dispatch and change x, right? But okay, but what does this dispatch do? Well, this dispatch is just a plain function, just a pure function that takes the input and then passes that input to some other functions, reducers. The reason why it's called reducer, that comes from a JavaScript and functional programming, a reduce function, right? So they're called reducers because they're reducing your state to a single value, in this case your state value, right? So for example, in JavaScript you can have an array 1 2 3 4, and then you can say reduce, and you got an accumulator here. So you say you get an accumulator and a current element, right? And then you can say, you know, return accumulator plus current, right? So this here in this context, you would get 3 plus 3, you would get number 10, right? So it's called reducers because they reduce the state to a singular value, and that singular value is an object, right? So the reducers basically, reducers mean, you could think about it this way, reducers define what it means for my state to for example, change X, right? So in your reducer, so you dispatch an action that's called change X, but in your reducer, you describe what does it mean to change X. So that's why you're gonna see in an old-fashioned Redux, not in the Redux RTK, you're gonna have something like if action.type is change X, then you as a human being, as a developer, you define what does it mean for that change X. What does that actually mean, right? And for you, you're gonna say, well, for me, that means state.x is action.payload.value, right? For example. So for me, it means I want to change, right? And this is a Redux in a nutshell, right? So you have a singular state. It can be accessed globally. You can have different slices of state. And then, as you mentioned, because we don't want to write everything in a single reducer because that would be very painful to maintain, you have multiple of these reduce functions, and then they provide this combined reducers middleware where you can you spread all of your reducers. You combine them basically into a single one. You don't care about this. This is just an internal of the Redux. So the Redux actually can properly work, right? But simply put, this is what, in a nutshell, Redux is. There isn't more to it or less. That's just what it is. Then you have action creators. So instead of passing, these ugly objects to these functions, instead of doing that, that's not very good to need to pass this manually every time. Then you create an action creator that says const, change X. It takes some value. It takes some value, for example, and then it returns some object instead that has a hard-coded type called, change X, and then value is whatever this function passes to it, right? So this would be called an action creator, right? It's called action creator because it returns these objects then, so it creates these objects for you, right? Just plain JavaScript objects, right? That's basically it. But I explained all of that in that video I recorded. So that is really Redux in a nutshell, and you just need to use it to get good with it, basically. Yes. Alrighty, fellas. I think I'm gonna round it up now. I need to go. I've been streaming for 2.5 hours, so I think it's good for me. Yeah. For those of you who are new here, thank you very much for coming. I'll see you guys soon this week again. And if you haven't, please already, just go and, as I said there, shamelessly sign up. Anyway, that's it for today. I wish you guys all the best, and I'll catch you up another time. Peace out, everybody. Bye-bye.